Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Jacob. Alongside with me today are my co-host, John.
Hello.
And Kyler.
Hello.
And I'm excited today because today we are going to be talking about one of the best movies that I've seen in a while, Across the Spider-Verse. So, to get us started, I just want to get your guys' thoughts, maybe 1 to 2 sentences. What was your favorite part of the movie and why? How about we start with John?
Don't start with John.
Sorry, I'm contemplating if I should just never mind.
Just what? It's fine. We're still rolling, so I can cut it.
Contemplating if I should completely freestyle or try to keep it reined in.
Slightly.
I think
reined in.
I'm about to go balls to the wall. Okay.
All right. So I'd say one of my favorite scenes in the movie would be the introduction of Spider-Punk. Just his whole intro was just kind of badass, and he came in hot. Kind of showed up Miles a little, not on purpose. And yeah,
he comes flying through and breaks the barrier. That was an epic intro.
Very epic. What about you, Kyler?
Well, you took mine because Spider-Punk was one of my favorite characters in the movie. I loved everything about. I think he was the best character, I might argue, but we'll save that for later. So since John said that, I think easy go-to for me is the score of the film.
Oh, okay.
And I have some opinions on people calling this the best movie ever and comparing it to the first, but I will say I think the score and the soundtrack was on another level compared to the first film, especially the end.
Especially the end.
Yeah.
Are you referring to the team up of just grabbing everyone?
The team up. The song or the track's called "Start a Band." I've listened to it on YouTube. It's that good. And I've seen it go on up 300K views in a couple days. I think everyone can agree that it's a freaking killer track.
Starting a band, everyone.
What about you, Jacob?
I think my favorite moment was probably the chase scene when Miles is leading everyone away from the facility. And I think it just had a lot of just entertainment value with just all the Spider-Men, pointing at each other and then, of course, chasing Miles. And you get to see all of them going after him. But what I really liked about that scene was that I feel like we got a nice bombshell dropped on us as Spider-Man 2099, Miguel. He is just going after Miles. And then he lets us know that Miles is one of the anomalies. That he wasn't supposed to be Spider-Man. And Miles is kind of processing this information. But then he also kind of takes a stand saying you know what, I'm done with everyone telling me how it's supposed to go, what's supposed to happen. I'm going to do me. And I just really enjoyed that moment. How did you guys feel about that?
I do. I don't know if I think that's a top moment of the movie, but I do love his line delivery on he's nah, I'm gonna do things my way. I even when the second trailer was out, I loved that line, even seeing it there, and it was even better in the movie.
Yeah. I thought the delivery was perfect.
I thought he also after finding out that he's an anomaly, he realized why do I have to conform to the rules if I am an anomaly?
If he's already an anomaly. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that moment, but it also got me thinking a little bit. And I started to kind of just think, and I want to play devil's advocate with myself because that was one of my favorite moments. But Miles is kind of pushing aside, he's taking a stance, he's I am an anomaly, but I'm going to do me. And I forget about all this predetermined stuff. But correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Miguel say that if these canon events are disrupted, that the connections of the Spider-Verse are going to be destroyed?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then I was kind of thinking, Like, to someone that Miles cares a lot about, Gwen Stacy, the Spider-Verse means a lot to her. In her universe, she lost her Peter Parker. Her dad basically pushes away from her when he finds out that she's been lying and that she's a spider person. And, he's about to arrest her. So she has, like, lost almost everything in her universe. And Miguel and Spider-Woman show up and kind of give her this new opportunity. And I would argue that the Spider-Verse means a lot to Gwen. So should Miles be a little concerned, or at least care a little bit about maintaining the Spider-Verse and knowing that it maybe not mean a lot to him, but it means a lot to other spider people? How do we feel about that?
You really just stirred my brain up. I'm struggling to follow, but I think in the end it doesn't really matter because Gwen wants to rescue Miles, and I don't think she thinks the Spider-Verse is that important. She's more concerned with having a friend, which I think is Miles.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, like, she's getting the group together to help him, so they're clearly gonna obviously break the whole canon event, the whole string, I guess, if you want to say. So I think at that point she realized, like, I can't just conform to this spider society. I actually have to help my friend, especially when he finds out that everyone that he's interacted with knew that he was an anomaly and knew, like, well, they were actively trying to get him to stop trying to save his dad.
Yeah.
So I think, so at the moment, what you were saying, in the moment she's rescued by the Spider-Verse people. And so for that, she needs it because she has nowhere to turn. But I think she realizes after seeing how Miles, how betrayed he was that everyone knew, and how he essentially said, I don't need you guys. I think she realized that her friendship with him is more important than following the rules, which could, in the process, cause the collapse of the Spider-Verse. But it's kind of weird. Like, you get in this weird paradox where if he's an anomaly, isn't he kind of like an X Factor? He might be like outside of the whole,
like, things could go differently.
Yeah, because he's already
he's maybe creating a new path, or
yeah,
weaving a new web, you might argue.
Yeah, like he already did something that would have, I mean, theoretically it should have already ruined the original Peter Parker's, like, canon events. Yeah, so, like, if that didn't happen, clearly he's kind of out. I'd say he's a little outside of it, but who knows?
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I completely agree with that, but for me personally, I thought Miguel was a very good character in this movie because I could see his viewpoint. Like, if we take his side for a second, Miles could possibly destroy the entire Spider-Verse. Like, we see the one universe where Miles saves the Inspector, and we see, like, that black hole is created. Like, Miguel knows, like, what is happening to these universes, and he wants to stop that. So would you guys agree that Miguel at least has a valid point in that, like, maybe we should be trying to stop these events, or make sure something should happen?
I agree, because I don't think I agree that Miles is causing the events. Well, I mean, he's causing because he's there, but he can just stay in his universe and everything's fine.
So do you think a better option for Miguel would be to instead have tried to isolate and keep Miles in his current universe?
Yeah, that, or take care of it quick. I don't think he's a very smart guy.
It's because he's blinded by what he did to the one universe that he hijacked.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand where he's coming from. He wants to make sure nothing happens to the whole universe. But the way he went with Miles was literally like, let me blindside you. Oh, you didn't agree with me? Well, you're going to get trapped, so we can let it happen anyway. Like, he didn't give Miles a choice. He literally just said, join us, or here you go, you're stuck here.
And also, he took Spider Gwen into that wouldn't.
So
Well, I mean, I guess he
I
could have talked to her, and dad would maybe still die. I guess they haven't explained that all the way, but that's another possible
'cause
contradictory.
I think that gets a little weird because I thought her canon event was Peter Parker dying.
True. Okay, actually, this leads me into I don't want to. I guess this is related, but I think Peter died, but wasn't it insinuated that her dad was still supposed to die?
yeah,
Like when
it
she
was
went back, and then she had like that
Yeah.
moment of realization
Because
shot. That's
she
like,
was
oh, did I
almost
just do a canon event?
surprised.
Yeah.
She was almost surprised when he said that he had stepped down like a week before. And
Yeah.
like I actually kind of like was in that moment like, oh, like that's like big news for her. Like
Yeah. I feel like that's another like plot point that's kind of pushing her to get away from the Spider-Verse and break out of
give her that feeling that she doesn't have to conform and like maybe canon events don't have to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
But before we move on to something else, just gonna throw out a defense of Miguel because you're kind of saying he's stupid. I think, to be fair, he did not want Gwen or Miles to know about the Spider-Verse, and it was
Yeah.
Spider-Woman that basically brought Gwen in. So I
Yeah.
think he knew that this would happen. So I guess maybe in the back of his mind, like by him allowing Spider-Woman to invite Gwen and bring her in, like he kind of in the back of his mind like knew that there was a chance that the events of this movie could take place.
And he's dumb for letting that happen.
Yeah, I think he just kind of maybe he realized her potential outweighs the risks because
Yeah.
if we remember from the first movie, he was watching them, so he definitely saw that they had a connection and was that's probably why he pushed her or didn't want her to join in the first place. But yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to let's just cut. Let's cut to the chase.
Let's cut to the chase, baby.
Let's cut to the chase. I want to argue. I think that makes for a fun podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking about the score,
No,
the rating. I should
the rating. Yes. I want to argue. A lot of people are saying this is the best movie ever. 10 out of 10. Literally, when the movie ended, there was like two dudes next to me. He's like, better than the first? Yep, better than the first. 10 out of 10 movie, best movie ever. And I've seen that echoed a lot. What are your guys' opinion on it? How's it compared to the first? What do you your overall score?
So I'll say my initial is still 10 out of 10. I wanted to rewatch it just to get that whole first time viewing shine off, but I haven't. So it's still 10 out of 10 is pretty high. Is this a perfect movie? I'd say I don't know. I think it was pretty close, but I'd still give it a 10 out of 10, even though if I don't think it's perfect. It's just oh, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I also would like to see it again, but I still have only seen it once. But
Yo, y'all
just
come over
from-
tomorrow. Let's watch it.
Let's do it. Just from my initial reaction of like being in the theater, I think this was the first movie in a while where like I felt truly pulled in. And like when it was ending, like that final minute when the score's playing and Gwen's building this team, and I was realizing the movie was over, I was a little upset. I was like, oh man, like I want to know what happens with Miles and his dad, and I want to know everything that's going on. So I think that they ended on a very good cliffhanger. Like they did leave me wanting more, and just. My overall impression was just like it just sat well with me. I don't think I'd say it's a perfect movie, but I'm definitely like 9 out of 10. Like I really enjoyed it. I want to watch it again. I think they did a great job with Miles and Gwen Stacy. Like I was feeling for both of those characters during this movie. I liked some of their moments, and it was just overall very good movie.
Okay. What do you think?
Just to add, I felt like you said, pulled in, and I also felt like this is just a movie that I've in a while that I felt that I just enjoyed the start to finish. Obviously, besides when you realize the movie's over, it's like, oh, what the heck? But I just loved every second of it.
I will agree. This is probably, I'm not gonna say the best paced movie, but it's really well paced.
It was. I agree.
So good.
This might be the only film in the last couple years I've seen in theaters where I didn't even like check my phone for like the time or whatever.
I didn't either. Yeah,
like
I wanted to because when we were getting close to the end, I'm like, oh my god, how are they gonna wrap it up? But yeah. I was like, I can't take my eyes off the screen for even a second.
Yeah. So kudos on that.
Now that you're the last one, so let's
hear it.
You seem to have the differing opinion a little bit.
I do, and I agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying, a lot of the stuff that other people are saying, but I think the first one is superior to this. I think that is a near 10 out of 10. I'm not comfortable saying it's a 10 out of 10, but if you were to ask me like what the best movie ever is or something like that, Spider-Verse. What is it? Into the Spider-Verse? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Into the
This one's Across, right?
The new one is Across, yes.
Yeah. I think Into is just a perfect movie. This one, I probably around an 8 out of 10-ish. I do like it more and more the more I think about it, but I just don't think the story was as tight and just... I don't know. There was like some improvements on the animation and visual style and the score and stuff, but the story wasn't as tight. And I think it actually, my opinions are very similar to how I felt after watching No Way Home. And I think something similar between those two movies is that there's a lot more action and entertainment stuff that a lot of people, especially like general audiences, are loving and propelling it to a 10 out of 10.
That's how you get people in the seats, man.
Yeah. And when you're doing, big Hollywood storytelling, so good balance between that. And this is probably one of the better. Well, I don't even know if I'd call this a blockbuster movie because it's not pulling in like
I don't
money and stuff. But
so is your drawback that it's technically not a closed story like the first one was?
That's part of it. I don't think that's a major factor. It's just the story just wasn't
just a little bit
as tight.
I could see that. Yeah, because I haven't watched the first one in a while, so maybe that's why I'm leaning towards Across the Spider-Verse so much.
Yeah.
But I now that looking back, I'm like, yeah, the first one. I mean, literally, they could have had one, and that would be it, and it'd be perfectly fine.
For one, let me ask you guys this: whose movie was this?
That's tough.
I think it was both Gwen and Miles.
Yeah, I
agree. I think that's what they
main
tried
characters.
To do.
Like,
yeah, they were purpose. Like, obviously, the first one
like it starts with Gwen. Like,
that's what
movie. It starts with Gwen.
I see it as it's like a 5-act movie. It's like the Gwen prologue, and then you go back to Miles and his whole thing. That's like the first act. The second act is introducing into the Spider-Verse. The third act is the whole chase sequence, and then you have like the epilogue. Well, I like to call it the crescendo, just the whole Earth 42 or Universe 42 stuff, just building at the end, kind of teasing the end. But it's weird because it's like, is it a Gwen Stacy movie because it starts with her, and I think it kind of ends with her. And she has like some. Yeah. I think she has the most character evolution in between, but it's also Miles, and that's why I think it's kind of messy because it's like it's not tight.
See, that's where I disagree. Where it's messy, it is technically 2 stories, because they both go through their own arc.
Yeah.
Miles' whole thing is he wants to get go see Gwen, which turns into he wants to be part of the Spider-Verse once he finds out about it, and then. Let's just say, so his beginning, he wants to be there, The middle is he is there, and then the final part of like his arc, I guess you can say, is that he realizes that he doesn't need him. And for Gwen, it's sort of similar, but it's kind of more figuring out who she is, I'd say. So she goes to the Spider-Verse to kind of be rescued. I'd say the middle for her is just trying to figure out where her role is and how it like that's okay. That now that I'm saying it, I kind of get lost.
Yeah, I think there's definitely arcs there and story there. It's just it's good. It's okay. It's not top tier.
So do you think it should have been? They should have picked one or the other. So it should have been either another Miles or
I don't know. I mean, I like what they did, and I'm curious to see what they do with the part 3. I think I really can't say anything until I see part 3, which is kind of the risky thing when you do movies like this. Because if part 3 sucks, and that kind of pulls back some of the
yeah.
If part 3 is amazing and like there's cool callbacks, like I want to talk about the like
screenshots.
The screenshots from Twitter and the Easter eggs from the first one, because there's stuff like that, and it's like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Then yeah, maybe 2 gets some points up, but it's hard to judge them before you see it all.
Got to finish the book before you can judge the chapter.
Yeah. That's why I think I finished 2, and as standalone movie, it's how I rate things. As is, I think Spider-Verse 1 is better, and it's still a good movie, but it's not amazing.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
I
a lot of people
your
love
point.
this.
I still like. Yeah, I could see your point. I don't know. Just my opinion is that even though it ends as, we're calling it part 2, but I'll just say it's like Across the Spider-Verse part 1. I feel like ends pretty complete. Obviously, the whole villain and the aftermath of that isn't at the end, but to me, I felt it was still pretty complete. Obviously, not as complete as the first one.
Yeah. I still really enjoyed this movie. Like I do think it was really good. And I think that if they hit on part 2 of Across the Spider-Verse, if the next movie is really good and it delivers, I think like I'm going to look at like these 2 movies as a combination and be like, yeah, these are really good. But because of that to be continued, I think you almost have to wait because the story isn't fully concluded.
Yeah.
No, it's actually awesome. It's a little tangent, but it's actually awesome that it's coming out next year. We don't have to wait,
hopefully
5
We
years?
don't have to wait 3 or 4. Yeah.
Hopefully unless it gets delayed.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've already planned it if they just said it's coming next year. So like just hopefully nothing happens.
Yeah.
All right. We're getting deeper into the podcast, and we haven't discussed a key part of the ending. Miles is not in his own universe.
Yeah. I was like, where are you going with this?
But it is his own universe. I saw him. I saw 2 of them, actually.
You did see 2 of them. And how are we feeling about our other Miles? Does he have a specific name? Just is he Prowler Miles?
Prowler for now.
Gangsta Miles.
The Prowler Miles.
Where do we go? Do we go with like where they're I kind of want to talk about where they're going with this.
Let's go with predictions. Let's go with predictions.
Actually,
where do we think they're going with Miles? Where do we think they're going with Prowler Miles? And go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say I feel like so obviously Spot's gonna be the big boss at the end.
Yep.
I feel like I don't see Prowler Miles changing his mind and helping. Just because he's been molded by the aftermath of Spider-Man. Miles is like being the anomaly, so I don't really see him like being like, oh, okay, sure, I'll help you save your dad. I see him being like a mini boss, I guess, if we're gonna call Spot the main boss.
The obstacle that he'll have to overcome first.
And I'm also curious. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to piggyback off that and say, I think Miles is gonna try to appeal and say, "Oh, we gotta save our dad," blah blah blah. But Prowler and Uncle Aaron are just gonna spite him for having a dad and killing his dad. And
Yeah.
that's they're just
Yeah,
gonna
and I think didn't they kind of like already? Maybe I'm mistaken, but wasn't there like dialogue like saying like where he said like your dad or something like that, like where he is already
it's kind of like
differentiating
they
that it's not his dad.
Well, I think it was more like a questionable your dad.
Okay,
because he that's like him finding out that something's up, and then I think after that they cut to the mural, and then the movie ended shortly after after that.
Because going to Prowler, he's probably like, why? Who is this guy that looks exactly like me? Like, so I'm sure it was more of a question, like you said, because obviously they wouldn't know about the multiverse or Spider-Verse. I'm curious because you know how they're teaming up. Is it gonna be Prowler and Uncle Aaron versus the whole gang? Because that seems like
that wouldn't be fair.
If Prowler Miles can take on the whole gang, that would, I feel like has the consequence of making the spot fight worse.
I feel like to me it would make more sense if Miles has to get out of that little predicament alone, but maybe not.
I think it's going to be Miles versus Miles, and then maybe the spider people show up, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have you beat, but Miles doesn't want to kill himself, and then Spot's gonna show up, and everything's gonna get derailed, and they're just gonna move on from that.
I think. Oh, I didn't even think about Spot showing up.
But
it sounds. I guess he could, but it sounded like he was already going back to his universe.
Yeah. Or an incursion. Is that what they called those things? The Spider-Man India black hole stuff?
I don't think they called it incursions, no.
Yeah.
That's the Doctor Strange term, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've heard it in stuff outside.
I don't remember them
Strange.
using incursion in this movie, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Sounds like we're gonna have to rewatch both of them together. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyler, drive over
Watch
here.
party, baby.
No, y'all drive over here.
I mean,
because you want your opinion.
I was gonna say something, but I lost my train of thought.
Something about Miles and Miles.
I was gonna say something about Miles.
And Prowler and
Aaron.
No.
I was gonna say, I think it was a little pretty cool how Spot was just the random guy that got hit by a donut.
Yeah,
bagel, bro.
Bagel.
That was pretty funny. That little callback.
I like that callback, and I like the freaking Jacob. Have you seen? Because I know I sent John some of the screenshots, but the
we'll get into that. Yes,
the mirrors between the first and the second movie.
I have not seen said screenshots.
Obviously, there's the bagel. Yep. There's when Miles is tied up. It's literally a parallel to when he tied up Peter.
Yeah,
or Spider-Man
on the boxing bag.
Yep.
Boxing. Yeah.
That like literal parallel imagery. What was the other parallel?
There's the next two are just hints of like, so when Miles first gets bit, his background shows the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that goes away, like you said, and then the other one is
or it starts with it's when he's meeting the original Spider-Man. His spider sense goes off in his Prowler colors, which kind of signifies that he might be bad and turn into the Prowler in this universe. Since he's with Uncle Aaron, and then it switches to Spider-Man, which is like that signifier.
Very interesting.
And then it shows. I think the last image was.
What was there was
the spider that was said 42, Universe 42.
Well, no, it was the spider glitching because it didn't belong in that universe.
Okay.
And then the other one, when Miles fell at some point, there were the numbers 42 from like a sign on his sides. Just a little Easter
nice
egg.
Little hints.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm sure there's a bunch more, but
I'm actually
cool.
I don't see it as an important part of the story, but I'm curious if they're gonna mention I'm assuming it's a Peter Parker, but what happened to the Peter Parker in Universe 42?
he never got bit by a spider, maybe. And
Like,
he's
you
just a
think he'll
normal
end
dude?
up coming back, or they'll just come? Like, I mean, he kind of doesn't matter if he doesn't have powers, right?
True. I don't think I ever touched on that. It's never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, because
Er-
if he didn't get bit by his spider, he's just a normal dude. And
Yeah.
so like what could they bring him in for even? Like
Yeah, that's true.
Or
to
Unless
get
was-
to get
maybe-
bit by
was
the
Ma-
spider from his universe?
Was Miles
I think
supposed
you're
to
about
get
to
bit?
say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is Prowler Miles supposed to be the one that was supposed to get
Yeah,
bit?
we don't know. Okay.
It can go either way.
That actually kind of makes the whole Spider-Verse from collapsing thing kind of weird paradox. Because don't you think it would have happened if he didn't become... That seems like a major event that would have caused a black hole or wormhole, I feel like.
I don't know.
The universe,
Well, if
you lost
no
a
one-
Spider-Man.
So, wait, so if no one ever gets bit by the spider because the spider was taken out of the universe or whatever, then there's no Spider-Man or Spider-Woman, which means there's no
there's-
connection to the Spider-Verse. So nothing
it's just
can
that.
be destroyed
Okay.
by a little whatever those black holes were called once we figure out their name.
I feel like they just said wormhole, but maybe not.
I personally do not care.
and
actually,
that's it.
To pivot a little bit, I like that. I like how they both visually and explain how the Spider-Verse exists, and they showed that it exists within the MCU, but it's also like an offshoot of like a timeline. So this one Spider-Verse could just be in one timeline, or it could be, it can be, the Spider-Verse could be within the timeline as a whole, or there could be a Spider-Verse within each of the different timeline offshoots in the MCU. I think they wrote it really well, so like they can literally do whatever they want, and it really doesn't matter what happens in the Spider-Verse or in the MCU, so these details don't like
They're
matter
leaving
in the long
a door open for themselves. To do whatever
it's
they want.
Very clever writing.
Very smart. Very smart.
Okay, so if we go back to predictions, is Miles' dad gonna die?
Oh, the hard hitting question.
Because I think they'll beat Spot, because obviously he's like so OP, like he's super power hungry. I know his whole point is just to take everything away from Miles, but I doubt it'll end there. So I'm wondering.
The obvious prediction that's kind of just like sitting there right in front of my face is that Miles knows that Spot's going to try to kill his dad, and he's going to do whatever in his power to stop that. But either
Gonna fail.
A, whatever, like that little vision he saw of it happening is going to be incorrect, and by whatever like action Miles chooses actually contributes to his dad's death. Or I think he does save his dad, but indirectly that gets someone else very close to him killed.
I was just about to say, I
And
think his
obvious
if he
choice
saves
would
his
be
dad,
Peter B.
his mom.
Parker or
I
his
was gonna say
mom.
his mom.
Or
Yeah,
Gwen.
yeah.
I think Gwen's
both.
the
Another, yeah.
top of the line.
Actually,
I don't
now
think
that
they
you
want to kill
mention-
Gwen though. I feel like
I think anything goes, but I feel like Peter B might be the next in line, because when he left, it sounded, what did Mary Jane say? Like, come back home or something? Or am I just
well, yeah.
Forget
What was
that.
her last thing she said to him before he
like
left?
the only thing she said? Yeah.
That's a great point. I
He's his
thought of him
mentor.
first because yeah, he kept going on that he was the mentor. He's a new father. Like
He had the baby because he thought he could because of Miles. So like
Yeah.
it'll hit even more if he dies.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I
If his
thought of
dad
him
doesn't
first.
die.
But I think the mom and Gwen could both very easily make sense.
I see it going either way, but I think the direction they've been going and the themes they've been exploring and how many stakes there are, I think they're going to have a classic Hays Code Hollywood ending where everyone just ends up okay.
Very possible.
I think there's going to be
But-
lots of stakes and lots of things at risk, but
They don't want to be too dark.
Well, I think like the themes of just Miles wanting to do his own thing and how like the classic Spider-Man trope that someone has to die, and I just think it's gonna go just complete happy ending.
I could see that too.
A complete
I don't-
happy ending for everyone.
I also think the
Does that
storytelling gets
include
really
Spot?
messy.
Does
It could include Spot.
Spock get a happy ending here?
It
Does he
could.
find a purpose of like helping? Maybe the Spider-Verse gets destroyed, but Spot finds a purpose in helping spiders stay connected.
That actually could be. That's the best of both worlds, where you get everyone dying, or maybe some people die, and then
And then,
Everyone
hey,
has to
you can
change your heart.
reconnect. Other universe.
yeah.
Oh, we got some major fights coming up. Because there's no way Miguel backs down. Maybe some character development where he does, but you have that fight potentially. Obviously, Miles v. Miles, and then Spot.
Yeah, and like the Peter, I don't know, baby dad Spider-Man fight, and if he dies, that's sad. Gwen dies, that's sad. If Miles dies, now I'm getting sad.
If people die, we will be
It's a lot of
sad.
stakes.
I feel like, yeah, at least I feel like they might let someone die, but who knows?
We'll have to find out.
One thing I did want to mention is how cool was it to see Donald Glover's
Prowler.
Oh, I was so excited to see that because I totally didn't get that spoiled on beforehand. I was so shocked. Let me tell you.
I didn't expect it.
I
Some
guess
of that did get spoiled.
I didn't expect it, but I also like when I was watching, like it didn't elicit a reaction from me. I was like kind of just thought like, oh, like there he is.
Yeah, the cameo that got the most reaction out of me was seeing when they had the Uncle Ben's dying, and I saw like the
And they
Spider-Man
had the old
GameCube
footage,
scene.
right? Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, that I was like, oh, I love that game. I remember playing that. I remember that scene exactly for some reason, even though it's been like 20
Years.
years, something like that. Yeah, all the other cameos were
wait,
kind of when in the whole like multiverse explanation scene.
They were showing
They were
the
like Uncle Ben's
die
death, like
as
these are
like a
canon
canon
events.
event.
Yeah, and on the right side when they showed Ben's, it was like I think one of the Garfield or Maguire Ben's was in the middle of the screen. To the right of that was the video game from the Spider-Man GameCube, like 2002 Spider-Man, whatever.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love that game too. I remember that scene. I'm
I
like,
didn't
that's
realize they
sick.
showed it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. Apparently, I thought it was the Spider-Man 1 game, the newest one. Not the newest, but
PlayStation Spider-Man.
PS. Yeah. That his roommate's playing Spider-Man 2.
I did
Yeah.
notice that he was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one where I was like, oh, they're showing Spider-Man 1, but apparently it's
a new
Spider-Man
game.
2.
Exclusive footage. Yeah. Bunch
Yeah, I
of
like how
Easter
Miles'
eggs.
roommate was kind of just like super chill about Miles just coming in and out, changing, like, hey, bad guy got away.
Yeah.
I like how he also was like, I'm not trying to be your
Guy in the chair.
guy in the chair.
Yeah.
It also, I don't know why, but it also took me like a little bit to get used to grown up Miles, puberty Miles. Because he was a little kid in the first one.
But I mean, he's still not like grown up. It's like what,
Yeah.
15, 16?
He got some broad ass shoulders, I'll tell you that.
Oh, dude, he's
Looks like a
Tall.
grown man.
well, just like the one Spider-Man said, I wake up, I don't have to work out because I'm already ripped. Jacked.
I don't know why, but I just remembered Spider-Man 2099's Fortnite skin with his clenched up butt cheeks. Have you guys seen that skin by chance?
No, I have
Totally
not.
should look it up.
Is he just as jacked as he was in the movie, though?
He's pretty jacked and like top heavy. His legs are smaller,
God,
but he got like bricks in
God,
his
he-
pants on his butt cheeks.
He was bricking his pants.
Dude, this kid, you gotta see this kid. I'm telling you.
No, he was Spider-Man 2099 was really cool. For some reason I didn't expect the cool looking webs. I was like, oh,
the
the
laser
red
webs.
neon or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. And then the
Okay,
fact, so
also-
I didn't know it was. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, I don't know the lore. Is he like not all like completely all spider? Like, does he have something else?
He's
in him? 'Cause
vampire,
he's, like,
bro. We're gonna get a Morbius
Vampire.
cameo in the third one. Let's
Oh.
go,
Just what we needed, the Morbius cameo.
dude. You know they're gonna. You didn't think
Dude.
about that when they said vampire and showed his little silhouette.
No, no.
Bruh.
Really?
I
You
was
also
like,
didn't
hell
pick
yeah.
up that he was about to.
You know,
bite
yeah,
into
that's
the
what I was gonna say.
vulture?
No, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, wait, what the like? I was like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, I don't think that's
He's
like
about to eat him.
comic accurate like lore stuff. I
Okay.
think that's something they're
Yeah.
doing for
They're
this because they
directing.
need to tie in Morbius.
So was he injecting like vampire blood into his arm in that one scene to like satisfy his craving, or was that like more spider serum? Because he said he's like I'm not completely like whatever. Like there's
I don't
something
know.
different about him.
But you just made me think:
I just
what
don't
if
know what it
Spot
is.
just gets like canned pretty early on in 3,
And
then he just goes
2099 becomes
vampire
a big
mode?
bad.
Yeah,
Oh
Bigfoot?
man.
It could happen.
there's a Morbius team up.
No.
Shout out to my favorite post credit scene where it's the vulture just
Hey,
meeting up
you know
with
what?
Morbius. Wanna team up?
You know what? Again, with the
Yeah.
clever writing stuff, this movie somewhat explains that now. It actually kind of makes sense that he just shows up randomly.
Who, the vulture?
Yeah, it's like if it's a different universe or whatever.
Yeah, just because he's teaming up with
Miles.
Morbius.
John, we need to watch party that.
No, I'm not watching.
Yes, guys,
Um,
comment that he needs to watch Morbius. Literal best
just
movie.
to
of 2022.
change up a bit, how amazing was the styling and like the themes? What am I trying to say? Kyler, help me.
Art design.
Yes, there you go. I thought that was like super top notch, especially like I noticed it more in the beginning. I don't know about maybe there was so much going on I didn't really pay attention throughout the film, but in the beginning with Gwen, like she's blue.
Yeah, they did a lot
Just
with
very
like her
watercolory.
emotions and like changing the background with her. Like I specifically
Okay.
think of like the scene where she's like at a low point and like the background is almost like melting.
Yeah, it's like running
Yeah.
water color
Yeah.
paint.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was a super clever way to use art design as a storytelling device.
Yes, and that's what I love about
Yeah,
film.
it was so good. So good.
That's what like okay, I don't want to say it for this movie, but it kind of is more so for this movie because the art's crazy. But at least for the first one, I like to refer to it as like a work of art because, you know, solid screenplay and storytelling and the literal art, like it's like perfect.
Perfecto.
This literal work of art. Paul, I have a question. Actually, I guess for both of you, more so for Jacob. Was
Okay.
the audio mix more so for dialogue and especially for that Gwen scene in the beginning? Was it like hard to understand what she was saying? I know Spider-Punk was hard to understand. Because in my screen, and apparently this was a thing for a lot of people, like it was really hard to hear dialogue because the music mix was horrible. I could like barely make
Interesting.
out what Gwen was saying. And I think about a week ago, they pushed a new version out with a new mix.
Okay. Well, I did not see it on the opening night or even opening week. So
Yeah.
when I saw it, yeah, I had no issues with any audio. I was able to
Interesting.
hear like all the dialogue. Like I did not think that was an issue at all.
I didn't have an issue. I don't think I did. The only issue I did was with Spider-Punk, just because of the accent was pretty heavy.
Yeah. Interesting. It makes me kind of want to rewatch it again because, yeah, like especially that Gwen Stacy scene. I couldn't tell if they were
Which
like
scene?
intentional. The very beginning, when she's
When she's drumming,
the whole freaking like 5-10 minutes at the beginning, it's hard to hear her. But
Okay.
when the drum started, you literally couldn't make out like anything. I couldn't tell if that was
wow.
intentional storytelling they were trying to do or something. But
Like the noise is too loud even for her own thoughts.
Yeah,
No, I don't think that was intentional.
I don't think I
I
had that
wasn't
issue.
either. Apparently, the cause, like, they sent out a note that they were supposed to turn up the volume for this or something. And
someone didn't.
Some theater, a lot of people didn't at theaters, and some theaters don't have the right sound mix to catch up with modern movies, which kind of explains Nolan's issue with what was that Tenet movie recently and stuff.
I feel like
Although that was
Christopher
the same
Nolan
at
has
home.
that all the movies.
Yeah.
Yep.
God.
It's always like, man, what are they saying? Like, turn it up. But then you're also just turning up all this loud ass background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But theaters have like
Just
different
Tenet.
channels that they can mix and stuff. Apparently, you have that at home too, but they haven't figured out how to do that for the consumer end yet, or care to.
Okay.
But
All right. We're approaching the 50-minute mark here. Is there any last questions, last points we want to bring up and discuss?
I got something to mention.
All right.
Kind of
let's
goes
hear it.
hand in hand with the messy storytelling aspect. But what the freak happened to Spider-Man India? He literally just disappeared from the movie, and it's assumed that I assume he stayed to help out with his saving his world thing, but they didn't really mention that or anything. I kind of find
I
that
thought
odd.
it was because of that.
He does show up in that last team up scene, though. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he just wasn't helping out with. He wasn't anywhere else.
He got a giant wormhole in his world.
Yeah, but they
That
didn't
is true.
address that
That
or
is true.
anything. It was just the way it was like
There's
presented. It was just like, oh yeah, here's a plot point, and we don't need him anymore.
So here's my question, because I think we were all agreeing that the pacing of the movie was good.
Mhm.
If they had cut away at some point in like that third act to show him like helping out in his universe, would that have pulled you out a little bit or no? Or would you have been like,
Yes.
oh, we're checking back in? Because like I feel like the second half of the movie, if not the whole movie, like the pacing was good, and like if they would have had a scene somewhere towards the end of just like showing what he was doing, I might have just been like, why did I see that?
Well, I think they could have eased. Oh shoot! I didn't mean to open that gift. Dang it! I think they could have just put a quick, like, little 1 or 2 second shot in the montage at the end when Gwen's drums are going in, or just like a little.
Okay.
Hey, here's the Spider-Verse web thing, and here's him
Here he
saving
is.
his world.
I
Just a
guess,
close-up.
yeah, if they
Yeah.
did it that way, that could work.
There's easy ways they
Um,
could have put it in
Fair
without
point.
detracting.
I just
or just a
assumed that
line.
he was busy.
Yeah,
Um,
just like when
well,
was it Miguel? That's his name, right? Miguel O'Hara.
again,
Yeah.
Miguel.
It's like a quick line of like, "Hey, you stay here to help your world" at the end, or
Yeah,
Obviously not
that
that,
could have
but-
worked. Yeah.
yeah, I just found that a little odd.
um,
But goddamn, I love Spider-Man India's world in Spider-Man India. I think it's my
Yeah,
second
he was,
favorite
he was
character.
funny. I liked
it
him.
was cool. He was great.
Yeah.
Also,
Especially like calling out the fact that that there's some tension and chemistry
Yeah.
between them,
yeah.
which is what everyone in the audience probably thinks too.
hmm
Maybe not everyone.
So what I actually I liked a lot was like it just got me to chuckle a little bit was, if you remember the in the intro, when Miles first takes on Spot is calling it an ATM machine, and Miles is kind of calling him out like, why are you saying ATM machine? You know, the M stands for machine. And then Miles goes and says that he likes chai tea to this Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's like, what, you like TT?
Oh yeah, and then he's like non-bread.
Yeah, you're saying
Yeah.
bread.
Yeah, I was trying to think. That was Miguel
He's
said
just
that, right?
like
Or no?
who said that? I
No,
don't remember who
he
said.
was just saying it to Miles. I think they were talking when they were swinging together because those two were together for trying to save.
Oh
the
yeah,
city.
yeah.
Yeah.
Since we got a little more time left, another shout out to Spider-Punk for being the anarchist that he is, and like literally, telling Miles how to hone his powers to break out of the prison or the little
yeah,
trap thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Spider-Punk, dude.
God, he was
Everything
so good.
about him, and his especially comparing to like Spider-Man India, like Spider-Punk dipped out, but that's like totally on his character.
Yeah,
And they
he's
set
like,
it up
he's
perfectly,
like,
it
F
just
this,
works.
I'm
Yeah.
out of here. Like, he's like, I don't want to see where this
Freaking
goes.
great.
And it's also on character for him to help out the others with their own devices,
Yeah,
or at least
Mhm.
Gwen's device.
Yeah. I would love to know how like that interaction with him and Gwen's dad went down. Because obviously he doesn't know about like the Spider-Verse. So now he's just got this like crazy dude showing up being like, here, like you need to give this to your daughter, who he hasn't seen in how long. He's probably so confused, like, what is going on?
Oh, Spider-Punk. So cool.
Yeah. He was a cool character.
well, yeah, it's totally different. But have you guys seen Clyde with a Chance of Meatballs?
Not in a very long time.
That was directed by Miller and I'm forgetting the other dude, but the same director, Spider-Verse.
Lord
Lord
Okay.
Miller, yeah. And it's interesting thinking about that, like a lot of similarities, because like subconsciously when I was watching the first Spider-Verse, Miles' dad reminds me of the police officer in that movie, and
Okay.
very
Yeah.
similar themes with like fatherhood and stuff, and even the police or no, Gwen's dad kind of looks like Flint Lockwood's dad in Clyde with Chance of Meatballs. Some like
parallels.
auteurism
Okay.
going on with them. It was kind of neat to see.
Ooh. A shout out that I feel like just a cool little tidbit people should know is something you sent me, Kyler, is that a little kid made the Lego sequence.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That is very cool. The fact that he did that and it ended up in this movie. And it's also, when you think about it, didn't Lord and Miller also do Lego movie, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think they did.
I don't. Let's see.
This is off topic.
Lego-
but
okay,
when
yeah,
were
they did.
doing Star Wars. Yeah. That was like, oh, these people are doing a Star Wars movie? Well, before it got canceled. Or, they got booted.
Well,
But yeah, just a little cool little tidbit is that a little kid was able to make a sequence for a movie as big as this one.
yeah, so if you're still listening with us after 55 minutes, there's your little tidbit of
little
information
tidbit
that you've
at the
earned
end.
for staying this far.
Wow. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Any final thoughts? I think we kind of hit everything.
I think we've hit. I'm good. I've hit my thoughts. So if you guys are ready to wrap it up, I am as well.
I'm ready to get this
Dude.
Morbius watch party going, man.
No.
All right.
All right, well,
Adios.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Any questions or comments? Leave them down in the comments section.
Yes,
If
yes.
you have
What do you
any
want us to
movie
talk about next?
recommendations.
Make sure you recommend
Yeah.
Morbius so we can get that podcast going.
No.
Yes, please.
We don't want to watch that. All right. That's it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.